You know, some people in some countries like to say, this is the best country in the world. Well, I really don't know if there is such a thing. If any country can truly be the best country. There are some countries that are darn good, great countries to live in, but is there any country that sticks out, that really is so fabulous, so great, so amazing, that it truly deserves the title the best country in the world? I don't know. I think for any country just to be a great country to live in, never mind being the best country in the world, a few things need to be in place. As a minimum, I would say there must be established and protected human rights. There must be freedoms, like freedom of assembly and freedom of speech. I would say there must also be an unquestionable expectation of parents that their children won't be killed at a mass shooting at their school, just to name a few. So how does Canada lines up here? Is Canada a great country to live in? Well, I would say abso-flippin-lutely, yes. Canada stands out as a great country to live in for many reasons. It is renowned for its high quality of life, universal healthcare, and a welcoming multicultural society. Canadians benefit from safe communities, strong public education, and a pristine natural environment, from the Rockies to the Maritimes. Our country also upholds democratic values. Unlike our neighbor, our elections are fair. One person, one vote, that counts. We promote inclusivity and offer robust social services that support all residents. Moreover, Canada's vibrant cities and diverse cultural scene, combined with its commitment to environmental stewardship, makes it an attractive place not just to visit, but to call home. On top of that, we have a school system where our students actually learn something and don't have to be afraid to be shot and killed at school.
The United States of America is still the greatest country in the world. There's a lot of people who have forgotten that lately.
Is the best country in the world. I know it's fashionable to criticize and dump on America these days, but honestly, America is the best country in the world, and those who think otherwise do so from a place of ignorance. They're just ignorant.
The United States is the best overall. If you could choose anywhere in the world to grow up, to have a chance at success, the United States would be the place. We have the most robust economy. We have freedoms that you don't have in other places in the world: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of assembly. We have constitutional freedoms guaranteed. Right? All of these things are wondrous things that not only are unique, but also undergird the rest of Western civilization. I mean, again, as the United States falls, so does everybody else. That ways. But what I mean by that is America is the least racist country on earth. It is the place.
For the sake of keeping this video in a digestible length, as we go forward, let's just focus on one thing here. On freedom of speech. As you can see here on the Human Freedom Index, the country with the highest freedom score is Switzerland. Sorry to bring it to you Americans, but Switzerland scores much higher than you do. In fact, 16 times higher. If you want to be the best country in the world, I think you should try to improve your freedom score. And 11 European countries score higher in the Freedom Index than the US as well. In 2025, several comedians in the US lost their television show due to a mix of political, social and economic pressures. In the United States, late-night host Samantha Bee faced non-renewal of her long-running show, with network executives ceding declining rating, but critics argue that mounting political controversies played a significant role. High-profile American late-night hosts Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel recently lost their shows due to mounting pressure from the House of Horrors. Critics argue that those measures were less about ratings and more about silencing critical voices. This trend demonstrates clearly that even in countries with strong traditions of free speech, comedians such as Colbert and Kimmel are vulnerable when the boundaries of acceptable discourse narrows. Their experience highlights the broader risk to open debate when satire and comedy becomes targets of indirect censorship, and reinforce the idea that silencing of comedians can be an early sign of eroding freedoms. So how do you know when a nation has lost its freedom? Well, most people picture tanks rolling through the streets, soldiers marching in formation, and citizens dragged off at night. But that's rarely how it begins. The first signs are often quieter, more subtle. Sometimes these start with silencing the comedians. Take Russia as an example. Back in 2012, Vladimir Putin banned a puppet parody of himself. The puppet poked fun at his leadership, and he outlawed them. Everyone understood what that meant. Once you can't laugh at those in power anymore, you no longer live in a free society. And Russia is not alone. Across the world, the punishment for mocking leaders is steep. In Poland, it once meant a 3-year prison sentence. In Turkey, 4 years. In Kuwait, it could cost you your home, permanent exile. This is the situation we are drifting towards. That's why many Americans are starting to look around and think, this isn't what I wanted. Comedians like Jimmy Kimmel have mocked presidents from both parties, Biden, Obama, and plenty before them. None of those leaders tried to silence them. Because that is what comedians do. They speak truth to power. But now the freedom to speak openly in the US is slipping away. And if it disappears, America won't be America anymore as we know it. After Trump came to power in January, gosh, it feels like it was years ago, not just 8 months, he started doing a few controversial things. He withdrew from the World Health Organization. Mass layoffs and dismantling federal agencies. Trump abruptly removed inspectors generals from at least 17 agencies, often without the legal required 30-day notice. He targeted over 275,000 federal workers for termination in late June. Trump eliminated US aid, restaffed and withheld further funding for FEMA, effectively paralyzing that agency. He started aggressive tariff policies, what subsequently led to mass layoffs and increased cost of living for Americans. Trump started relocating Gaza's 2.3 million residents. He revoked visas and deported thousands of international students. He tried to control American universities, but he failed. For now, but he successfully corrupted American courts, even the Supreme Court of America. Trump closed important FBI task force and reassigned their agents to work on the street and arrest people of color who could appear to be immigrants. And just recently, Trump fired the commissioner of the Bureau of Labor Statistics because Trump did not like the July job numbers. He also ordered the Bureau of Labor Statistics not to publish any data related to inflation. All that is not just outrageous, it is also interesting. Take a look here. Destroying any kind of evidence. Laws, rules and protocols not being followed. Arbitrary detention, normalization of excessive force, justifying everything with national security concerns, manipulation of elections and elimination of meaningful political competition, publicize arrests, subordination of the judiciary and legislation, personalization of power with loyalty to the regime or its leaders, superseding legal or institutional norms, systematic erosion of fundamental rights and freedoms, such as freedom of speech, press, expressions, and freedom of assembly and association. Indefinite detention without charge or trial, secret courts or tribunals lacking transparency and accountability, denial of legal representation or the right to a fair trial. Do you know what all those points have in common? Every single one of them are practiced by the disaster administration of the Orange Felon. Everything I just said, Trump did or is still doing, like his ICE raids, who are getting worse by the day. No? You don't agree with me? Well, let's take a look, shall we? Arbitrary detention. ICE ambushes people off the street and make them disappear. And yes, over 1,200 people have even disappeared from Alligator Alcatraz. Normalization of excessive force. That is exactly what ICE is doing. Is any American outraged by what ICE is doing? Where are the demonstrations? Where is the noise? Crickets? Justify everything with national security concerns. Well, I'm sure you remember how many times the orange idiot has said we need Greenland because of our national security. Manipulation of elections or elimination of meaningful political competition. Well, there is gerrymandering, manipulation of voting machines, planting distrust in the US voting system, and don't forget, January 6th. Subordination of the judiciary and legislation. Trump corrupted the US court system, and that includes even the Supreme Court of the United States. Just think about that for a moment. Just let it sink in. Russia? North Korea? Personalization of power with loyalty to the regime or its leaders, superseding legal or institutional norms. Well, the entire Republican Party is devoted to its leader, Diaper Donnie. Systematic erosion of fundamental rights and freedoms, such as freedom of speech, freedom of the press and expression, and freedom of assembly and associations. The orange fascist gangster just single-handedly got CBS and ABC to suspend the shows of Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel. Now, how do you call that? Indefinite detention without charge or trial. Again, ICE arrests into Alligator Alcatraz, or sending the victims to El Salvador, or, as reported, there are apparently some prisons in rural US where people disappearing too.
President Trump that as president in office should be engaged in so much business activity.
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business. I'm here. You know what the activity, where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners
Well,
program.
the Australians, you're hurting Australia, right? In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
Well,
Go ahead,
okay,
John.
fine.
Maybe you can set a nicer tone.
Does a deal. What
Excuse me.
does it want in return?
Quiet.
Mr. President, what are you hearing about the operation? President Trump just left the United Kingdom, and as he's on his way back to Washington, he spoke with reporters and blatantly made clear that he believes if late-night hosts on network shows continue to criticize him, then those networks and their broadcasting licenses that they get are then going to be at risk of being revoked.
I read someplace that the networks were 97% against me. I got 97% negative, and yet I won it easily. I won all 7 swing states, popular, I won everything. And if they're 97% against, they give me only bad publicity or press. I mean, they're getting a license. I would think maybe their license should be taken away. It will be up to Brendan Carr.
Of course, this is a...
Trump has ordered an end to federal funding for PBS and NPR. Here's what we know. On Thursday, President Trump signed an executive order aimed at reducing government funding for PBS and NPR, claiming the broadcasters were reporting biased content. On X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, the White House posted that both organizations, quote, receive millions from taxpayers to spread radical, woke propaganda disguised as news. The executive order also states, the CPB board shall take all other necessary steps to minimize or eliminate its indirect funding of NPR and PBS. For reference, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a nonprofit created by Congress in the 1960s, distributes about $500 million in taxpayer funding to support public radio and TV stations, which offer free access to educational content, news, culture, and emergency alerts. Just a few days ago, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting sued the Trump administration after the president fired 3 of the 5 board members. The Trump administration is also reportedly working to dismantle the U.S. Agency for Global Media, which oversees Voice of America, Radio Free Europe / Radio Liberty, and other international news services.
Including a Democrat congressional candidate who was thrown to the ground by an ICE agent. Good work. They include.
What do you make Pam Bondi saying she's going to go after hate speech? Is that, I mean, a lot of your allies say hate speech is free speech.
We'd probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. Well, ABC paid me $16 million recently for a form of hate speech, right? Your company paid me $16 million for a form of hate speech. So maybe they'll have to go after you.
Down a lot. And then when I saw him fire the commissioner, that's a 5-alarm fire. We should all be worried about this authoritarian move of trying to take control of the statistical agencies when you don't like the numbers they deliver. The clear incentive is if Donald Trump puts you in charge of a statistical agency, give him the numbers you want or you're out. And that is, as your headline just said, that is absolutely a step down a path to a banana republic. Now, it's
And where else can we see such regimes? Well, in countries ruled by Trump's buddies, like in Russia, North Korea, and Saudi Arabia. And why is all that so remarkable? So important that we talk about it? Because all those displays of terrible deeds, like manipulation of elections, publicized arrest, and indefinite detention without charge or trial, all that stuff is what 3 distinct administrations have in common. Those regimes are fascism, authoritarianism, and dictatorships. All 3 are kind of the same, but slightly different variations. But let's not get lost in names here, please. None of them are good. I believe I was one of the first people who clearly stated that Trump's goal is to become the authoritarian ruler of the US, and I'm terrified that I'm right. The USA is now ruled by a fascist gangster, an authoritarian of the worst kind. The orange gangster doesn't give a shit about America or Americans. His only purpose is to steal as much as he possibly can and avoid to be thrown into prison, where he belongs, for all the crimes he has committed prior or during his rulership. Felon Trump is deeply corrupt. His family is deeply corrupt. He admires people that are corrupt, ruthless, and lawless. So why would he not surround himself with people who are just as corrupt as he is? Just a couple days ago, new reports came out that Trump's tough border czar, my God, what a title, how old are we, 8? Anyways, the law and order border czar, Tom Homan, reportedly accepted a bribe of $50,000 in cash from an undercover FBI agent. And of course, since corruption, lawlessness and cruelty seems to be the flavor of the month in the US, that is exactly why MAGA normalizes it. They don't care if you live in a kleptocracy where members of Trump's disaster administration line their pockets. They don't care if they break the law. They don't care if allegations of sexual assault and harassment seems to be a prerequisite of getting hired. They don't care because that is what they do, how they are. It feels great to be MAGA, doesn't it? MAGA doesn't care that the entire diaper Donny disaster administration is a deeply corrupt shitshow. No, they adore it. America is in the toilet, and so it's okay to be dirty. MAGA has nothing else to feel good about it. So why not go along with the game? At least that way, you know you're not alone. You're in good company. Oh boy, aren't you glad you're Canadian and you don't live in the US? The apparently best country in the world. There you have it, folks. Trump is an authoritarian gangster, and Mark Carney knows it. He knows that there will be never a time again where the orange diaper don can be trusted. That is why Mark Carney does what he does, diversifying our trade and security relationships and getting Canada as far away from the US as possible. The US, going forward, being under an authoritarian regime is not good and requires certain considerations. But it does not mean we can't trade with them anymore. We just have to come from a position of strength and be very considerate about what we do and how we do it. Please keep in mind, China has an authoritarian regime as well, and we do business with them. However, there is another thing that really bugs me. As I said in another video, if Trump's health doesn't do us a great favor, I'm sure he will do everything to stay in power. January 6th was just a rehearsal. I truly believe if Trump is still in power, there won't be any election in 2028. And if, then such an election will have a predetermined outcome, as it is custom in Russia. And Putin will show him how it is done. But if Trump won't be in power after 2028, will it be shady events? That guy worries me even more than Trump. So you guys, please let me know in the comments below how you feel about all that. For more commentaries on real news, facts and viewpoints to counterbalance the demagogic of the right-wing media, please like and subscribe. It goes a long way to help the channel. Till next time, I'm Wilfried Lemkuler from Europe Curious.
You by our side, and we spent so many nights thinking how you did us wrong. Now we've banded all together. Your tariff made us strong, and so you know you're not so great. There's not a snowball's chance in hell will be your 51st state. You really need our resources far more than we need you, so now just go. Walk out the door. We do not need you. You're not welcome anymore. Weren't you the one who instigated these trade fights? You'll soon grow to regret it when we turn off your lights and it does.
51st state, my fucking ass. Go on, Canada.